and Mother Mary, and don't get me started on her because I would just lose it. She's my greatest teacher. I love her, and I'm not even Catholic. I don't love her in a religious way. I love her in a motherly way. I even tell Jesus sometimes, Jesus, I love you, but I gotta go talk to your mama. He just laughs. But my point is, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Everything came together. Every puzzle piece came together. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. The surrendering, I get it now. I am here to serve. I don't have to know what tomorrow looks like. I don't. Why would I need to know that? Why? Just to give me a false sense of safety. Because the reason I call it false sense is because you don't know from the next minute, 1 minute to the next, if you're even going to be here. But we want to feel a certain way, right? Earth is, it's all feelings. Everything is based on feelings. Everything. So all I needed to do was I needed to learn, navigate that path and just learn all the details of vibration and frequency, and then learn to walk it fearlessly. But here's the thing that I really want everybody to hear. The most important thing is to be in right relationship with everything. If you can walk your path in a neutral way, just be neutral. Don't judge people. If you judge someone, it's actually your issue, not theirs. You need to clean your stuff up. It's not their problem. I'm serious. Do some research on that. But if you can walk your path just being an observer, really, you're not judging people. Even when people screw up, you can accept them how they show up in the world, because you're not at your best every day. When people don't show up at their best, they need more love, not less love. And I don't mean like codependent love, and that's not what I mean. Love is a frequency, and it fixes everything. And I'm not joking. I want everybody to understand, though, that I'm talking about the frequency of love. It's a frequency. So how do you make yourself immune from all the scary stuff? You raise your frequency. Well, what's a high frequency? Love, compassion, kindness. So, even for the people who are walking around with resentment and all of that, you don't know how to get there. You don't know how to raise your frequency. Well, be selfish. Just do it for you. Start by doing it that way. If you don't know how to forgive someone, then all you have to do is be willing. I've said this for years, you don't have to know how to forgive, because sometimes, say your child was murdered. I mean, that's kind of a hard thing to figure out. How am I going to forgive the person that murdered my child? You don't have to. But are you willing? Are you willing to do it so you're free of it, free of the burden of it? Well, yeah, I'm willing. Then that's all that matters. Your will is like forward movement. It's setting things in motion. And that's all that's needed. I'm serious about that. Our will, and I'm not just talking about forgiveness. I'm talking about use your will. I call it the will gene. Use your will for anything that isn't making sense, or if you feel like you're stalled or procrastinating, just start with the will. Well, I'm willing to do it. And then even psychologically, your own psyche is responding to that. So y'all remember that, because we have universal laws, and one of them is a law of action. And the using your will is kind of like using the law of action, even if you don't have the right answers, or because there's really no manual, not even the Bible. There's not a manual that tells you how to do life. And I'm not saying that against the Bible for those that believe in that. I'm neutral when it comes to that. It's not my thing. I mean, I used to go to church Monday, Wednesday, Sunday. Let me try that again. Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and then it was too fear-based. There's an ebb and flow to life, and that doesn't resonate with me. But it doesn't mean it doesn't resonate for other people. I just highly suggest to everyone, if you're using any book to judge someone, it's probably not a good idea to use that book. That's not okay. It's crazy. You're counteracting what you're trying to do, right? Everything's energy. So, there's, what I really think, the whole mediumship part, it healed me. it healed so much in me that I needed it. I needed to finally embrace who I am. You know, one of the first readings I did was for a nun. A nun, yes. And I connected to a priest who had died that was a good friend of hers. That was one of the first things he said. He wasn't even talking directly to her. He talked to me. And I felt, man, I'll never forget it. I felt it through my whole body. And it wasn't just him. There were several, archangels, higher level angels, that were coming in just to let me feel their support of what I was doing. They just reinforced it all the time. It was really cool. It's a really amazing, hard, raw, beautiful, rough, raw, hard journey. But I went to EMS. I was trying to decide all through 2013 if I wanted to retire early or not. Couldn't decide. I'm back and forth. Because, I have seniority there. I've been there a long time. I have all my benefits are paid. And I would be totally supporting, having to pay my own insurance and all. I was just grappling with that. Like, what should I do? Well, in late 2013, I made the decision to let go of trying to make the decision, and I said I would reevaluate it in several months. That was in December of 2013. So again, remember, look at the pattern. I surrendered, right? When you surrender, things tend to flow better. And so what happened was I was working, it was February 18th. My birthday is February 20th. So the 18th was my last shift before I was off for 2 weeks. I was going out of state on a trip with some friends for my birthday. Well, I ended up working the ambulance that's in Central. And it is usually not a busy truck, that busy, but we left the station at 6:30 and we got back at 7:30 in the morning. I mean, it was that busy. Well, the very last call that we ran was on Core Road, and it was a lady. She had been trying to get pregnant for years, and she finally did. We pull up in the driveway, and all I hear is yelling, and I see a man running around the vehicle. I know, oh Lord, she's giving birth. She's already in the car. She's got her legs up on the dash. She's pushing, and it was absolutely. He's panicking. It was precious, and I when the baby comes out, right, I clamped the umbilical cord, and I said, Dad, calm down. You want to come cut the cord? He goes, yeah. I said, come on. I had to hold his hand, to cut the cord because he was shaking so much. It was precious. I mean, it's just a cool experience. And I thought to myself, as I'm sitting on the side with, nasty gush everywhere all over the floorboard of her car, and she splattered on my pants, which I was usually pretty good about staying clean. But I thought to myself, this is the way I'm going out. This is it. At the beginning of the shift, I had actually written my resignation letter out of the blue, just wrote it. I didn't send it, but I wrote it. And then I called my supervisor, which is one of my best friends, and I said, hey, if I were to send my resignation letter in, that's going to be my 2 weeks, right? But I'm off for 2 weeks, so this would be my last shift. She's like, yeah, but you're not. I said, that would be okay, though, right? She's like, yeah, but you're not leaving. I said, yeah, okay, I was just questioning. But I had this call. It was so happy. And, we transferred. So we're way out in Central. We transported the baby. He had a little bit of a low body temp. But we went code 2. Back then, they had code 1, 2, and 3. Now it's code 1 and 3. Or they may have changed it since I've been there. But I told him, we're going to drive with our lights and sirens on because, we need to get him in a warmer and all. But it was February, right? It's cold. And I don't want you to run through the red lights because, for your safety. So just know we'll get him there safely. We'll see you at Oster, in a little bit. Well, that didn't work. And it wouldn't have worked for me either if somebody told me that. I go through one red light, he's right on my ass. He passes it too. And I just started giggling. I'm like, go, Dad. I mean, there's nobody on the road at that time of the morning. And I'm not going to deny him the right to follow me with his, hazards on, which we always made fun of. But I would have done the same thing. And so, plus I didn't even really want to arrive at the hospital without the dad. And just because it was such a precious experience. And I walked in and I handed the baby back over to the mom. They were getting her settled. I kissed that little baby on the forehead and I was like, I'm out. And I just had a couple tears trying not to cry, but I knew it. This was it. This is my last call. What a beautiful way to end my career. 20 years of doing this. It was rough and hard, and this is a violent place, and it was 1 minute you're getting beat up and the next minute you're delivering a baby that's the happiest moment of their life. It was a roller coaster, right? Adrenaline junkies, that's what we did. But I knew that was my last call. I drove back to the station and I got my iPad out and I hit send. It was my resignation letter. And I turned around to the crew, and the other crew, the oncoming crew, had just gotten there. And I turned around to them. So there's 3 of them. And I said, wow, y'all, I'm about to walk out. This is my last shift. I'm retiring early. This is it. And they went, huh? I said, I'm serious. I trust this. I trust the plan. I trust my heart. I trust my guidance. This is it. And they were like shocked, right? Yeah, I worked with these guys for years. So I loaded my stuff up. I'm kind of like in a weird space of what do I feel? And I drive down Sullivan Road. And like I said, I never work out in Central. So I used to live out there. I'm very familiar with it. But I was driving down Sullivan Road and I had the thought, I will never work another day in my life. Because I didn't consider readings work. I'll never work another day in my life. And now, my boss is God. Wow, right? Right as I said that, I felt like 3 or 4 spirit guides come way up on me. And I knew immediately they were wishing me well. Like they were leaving. And I realized in that moment, I'd never fully checked in with who are my spirit guides when I'm working as a paramedic. Everybody that's in a specialized field or in a critical field. Or no, let me reword that. Anyone that's making decisions for someone else's life or end of life, you're going to have a lot of guidance because you're not allowed to intervene in that. There's a plan in place, right? But my guides wished me well, and I thanked them for all these years for having my back. And I cried for like 5 minutes, and then I kept thinking, I'll never work another day in my life. I don't consider this work. You know, because I had been doing readings at that point for several years. At EMS, you work 12-hour shifts. So you work 2 days on, 2 days off. You work 14 days a month. So I had a lot of time to work there, and I had a lot of time to do readings. And when I retired early, I had like over a year-long waiting list. And the waiting list, the first time I think I did a small group, which I'll tell you how I ended up where I ended up. But I went from 0 to 100 in a week. I went from doing a reading to day 1 or 2, I had 20 people, 30 people, 50 people, 100 people on this list. And I'm like, I'm never going to be able to get to these people because I work at EMS. And that's why I'm saying, I really prayed about it. I got led to that, and I thought, now this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And, and I'll have more time. And yeah, it was a new chapter. So I'm going to stop this recording. We're going to the next one.